Okay, so now let's continue with the next step. Because in the last video, we learned how to calculate the exchange rate using the price of only one good. And we use the burger. So that is not the best because we are giving all the responsibility to only one good. That's why it's called absolute PPP, because it's only one good. But if we agree that inflation affects the exchange rate, but we don't want to give all the responsibility to only one good, we can use the inflation rate of the whole country to calculate the exchange rate. But now, instead of using only one good, we are going to use all the goods in the economy, right? Because the inflation rate calculates the changes in price of all the goods in the economy. So it is even more exact than the previous one. This new change in theory is called the relative PPP. So the other one was absolute because it was only one good, and now it's called relative because we have all the goods in the economy. So we are going to, so the formula to calculate the exchange rate price is a little bit different. It's this one that we have in here. So it says spot T. T means time. So we are going to calculate the spot at a certain time in the future. And for that, we need to use spot O, spot zero, sorry. Spot zero means a spot today at time zero. And then we're going to do the next part of the formula, which is the 1 plus the inflation of the home country. And that, and you have the exponential at time, and time means the number of years that will, that you are calculating the exchange rate. So if you are calculating the exchange rate in 3 years, you're going to use a 3 in there. And then at the bottom, we have exactly the same thing, but with the foreign inflation rate. So let's put that into numbers and maybe it can get easier. So here in Excel, I have an example. So we have the spot at day 0, which is 20 pesos over $1. Then we have the Mexican inflation, then the American inflation, and then we have time. Something very, very important is that in this formula, we are going to use time as in years all the time. It will be years all the time. And if I tell you that you need to calculate the spot rate in 6 months, you will have to do 0.5, right? Because it's everything in years. If I tell you in 3 months, then 0.25. If I tell you 18 months, then 1.5, right? So let's assume that in this case, we are going to calculate the spot rate in 2 years. That's why we have 2 in here. Then the other important tip is that which one is home and which one is foreign for this formula, right? Because the formula says home and foreign. Home will be always the one on top, the one that you have in the exchange rate on top. So in this case, Mexico will be home and the US will be foreign. Here, be really careful because if I switch this, if I switch $0.05 over peso, then it's going to change the home and foreign, right? So always home is the one on top and foreign is the one at the bottom, always like that. So let's do it in here, the operation. So it would be 20, that's what you have as the spot at time 0. And you need to multiply that times 1 plus the home inflation rate, which in this case, home is Mexico, so 0.05. And then all this square over 1 plus 0.02 because the US is foreign, then over 2 and divide. And this should be the exchange rate that we will have in 2 years. So as you can see now, we made a change because we are including time. Before we didn't care that much about time, but now we are caring about time. So this is the name of this topic, as I said earlier, is the relative PPP. So this is something that you will also use in activity number 5.